And this is the NFL Premium Podcast with Jake and Austin. And the game of the week is Packers versus Falcons. The game we'll be talking about is the Falcons-Packers game. Just finished up. What a wild game, right?
Crazy. Insane. How is it that close, man?
It shouldn't have been, is what it should have.
But it should have been a Falcons win. That's what it should have been.
It's if you think about it, all it takes is, I guess, that interception and that missed field goal. We're talking a whole different game.
Yeah, and those two retarded onside kicks, you get rid of those ideas, and
yeah, both were failures. Let's get into that later. That was just ridiculous. I don't even know why the Falcons in general did those at the very end. They should have just made the Packers drive. But final game score of 43-37. After halftime, did you even think the score was going to be like this? What was it, 31-7?
You know, at the beginning of the game when it started, I'm like, this game's either going to go one or two ways. They're going to be really close or it's going to be dominated. Like, as soon as the game started, I'm like, all right, Packers got it, dominated.
You were thinking Philly, you were thinking Panthers, you were thinking all of that. Right?
I was thinking everything. And then all of a sudden, just here comes the offense of the Falcons, but there's where's the Packers defense all night?
It seems like they were playing defense the whole time.
Who are you covering? One guy and you can't do it?
You
don't have a running game to worry about. You don't even have a tight end to worry about on the team. You got to cover one guy who just came back and just had his best game and follows up with even a better game.
Julio Jones?
Yep, and he steals the night away.
Because last week when they played the Cardinals, he just tore apart what would be arguably one of the best corners in the league in Patrick Peterson over, I think it was like 189 yards. It was, I don't even know how that even happens. You were thinking, oh, that's just a fluke game. Even though Julio Jones, in my opinion, is one of the better wide receivers in the league. I thought, no way he's going to do that. Even though this Packers secondary is not functioning as well as it has been since the Super Bowl year with Nick Collins, Tramon Williams, and I guess Sam Shields, when they're all working together, and you were thinking that's their defense right there. Julio Jones, well, I can't even remember the stat. It's right up here. 11 receptions, 259 yards. That's ridiculous.
And as soon as he goes out, Roddy White takes his place and jumps right in and takes over.
Yeah, with that touchdown at the very end. I mean, don't take anything away from Jordy Nelson, which had, 8 receptions, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, one of those was that big pass play to kind of help the Packers. You know, after they didn't score, they went on that scoring drought in the second half. That really kind of, I guess, energized them a little. But when you're talking a game that has the leading rusher with only 15 yards, you're thinking like, well, they kind of made him one-dimensional. Even though a lot of the rushers for the Atlanta Falcons were getting their dues in and they were having their small 3 or 4 yard gains, and then Steve Jackson maybe breaking an 8-yard gain, and it was doing decent but not well enough to support it, and they just sold out almost on the pass.
The problem was they were playing from behind, so they really couldn't go to the
rush.
ground too much. But
go to the ground.
The pass was so effective. I mean, no one, who's covering who? I mean, like they said, he was open on every play by at least 4 or 5 yards wide open.
That one touchdown play that he had where Sam Shields, where he completely turned the back to Julio Jones. I was thinking,
when the play started, he was looking around like he didn't even know where he was. Then he didn't even know where the ball was in the end. He's looking back, he's looking forward, he's looking left, right.
It was ridiculous. I was thinking, I'm like, double cover this guy, and I don't understand.
And the Roddy White touchdown. Well, we're just gonna let Roddy White run free. No one picks him up. He's just gone.
It just was a mangled game all in general. I don't understand. You got a guy who's as dominant as Julio Jones playing in this game, and he's going back and forth, getting these receptions. He had that 79-yarder, I think it was, touchdown and everything. I'm thinking they're going to start to double him. And what the announcers were saying is, let's make other receivers work for it and just make them be the stars instead of Julio Jones. And I don't understand why the Packers defense in general didn't do that. I don't know why they didn't double cover, maybe at a safety help most of the time, because you can definitely tell that Shields was not getting the better.
Well, whoever was on him and whoever was on White then didn't do a very good job because then White starts getting free and then Williams lets him go.
Yeah, true. And then, White only had 3 receptions though. I mean, but they were all meaningful. I'm pretty sure one was a I think it was a third down conversion, and then one was
Yeah,
a touchdown.
one was in the first. One was like in the first, like the first play or something was like to him or something like that. And then he gets a touchdown, and then he gets the other big play when he just ran right by Williams. Just sat there. I don't know what Williams was doing. He just ran away from him, catch it right down the seam. So, and then you look at the game perspective. You go, well, how did this happen? Because in the first half,
Yeah, you were talking a 31-7 score, and you're thinking, no way, they're coming back. And then
then you add the interception, the missed field goal. So okay, that's a 10-point swing. You get the 7 on the touchdown. Well, that's actually a 17-point game because they could have touchdown, but he threw the pick, and so that's 7 for the Packers. And then you missed the field goal, so that's 3. And then the 2, I don't know what those were, onside kicks. I don't know who thought of what or what the deal was there. I mean, what should the score have even been is the question. I mean, you really think of this game. It seems like it was over, but how was it ever over?
The funny thing about this is that, what was it, third, fourth quarter, that blocked PAT with Mason Crosby's. What if this game actually came down to it, and
it very well could have.
And then it could have just been they lost by that 1 point. It was so close to it, if you think about it.
The game shouldn't even been close, but then it shouldn't even been close. Not even. It depends on the way you look at it. It shouldn't have been close that the Falcons came back into it, but it shouldn't have been close that the Packers had a chance to win with everything the Falcons did after in the second half. I mean,
and then
I don't know how you want to put the game, but the real team who won this game was the Falcons. The Packers did not win this game. The Packers failed to win this game. It may say on a stat sheet the Packers won, but in reality the Packers did not win this game. This defensively you have to think too. Okay, Julio Jones, Roddy White, who really, you didn't really have a lot to worry about. I mean, you don't have a tight end to worry about. You have a really running back to worry about. You really didn't give too much up there. I mean, I just feel like it just seems like the Packers' defenses did not show up.
They didn't, because the offense pulled all the weight, all the game. If you think of, the whole entire game. The running game was fantastic. The receiving game was fantastic. All it took was a couple 3-and-outs. Or a couple of drives just stunted in the third and fourth quarter, and then the Falcons just jumped right on it. It totally didn't seem like the Green Bay defense came in prepared.
It didn't seem like they were prepared, but it didn't even seem like they were even on the field.
Yeah.
Who's covering who? Like I said, there's really, when you look at Julio Jones, Roddy White, well, there's your team. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to work
with. Who else? Eric Williams scored that touchdown.
And then the other guy who scored the other touchdown,
It just was like you were thinking, all you got to do is focus on 2 players. They don't have Tony G anymore. This isn't a year or 2 ago when all you have to do is third down, throw it to Tony G, got it. They don't have that. And this is the thing. If you notice the second half, they didn't get any pressure on Matt Ryan. When did you, you maybe saw 1 or 2 sacks the second half, but he had plenty of time. Aaron Rodgers had way more time than him the whole entire game.
Yeah, definitely.
But Matt Ryan, he didn't have pressure in his face until the very end.
I say besides that, whatever happened on the interception, I don't know what the deal was there. But besides that, I would say he definitely, with what he had and what he had to work with, I'd definitely say he outplayed Rodgers in this game.
Yeah.
Definitely for the most part.
Maybe he worked harder. I will say that Aaron Rodgers throws, except the one that he was a little short to Jordy Nelson, that could have been maybe a walk-in if he broke that tackle.
I think Aaron Rodgers had a few off throws. He was, I would say he's 90-some% on this game. Ryan, besides interception,
he was pretty good.
Yeah.
He wasn't no ripping and tearing, but he got the job done, and he had to do a lot of work.
4th downs for the touchdowns.
Yeah.
To Weens and Douglas for both of them. 4 receivers, 4 touchdowns. So he got the ball spread around at least a little bit. But, Julio Jones, and the thing about it is, you didn't expect this coming from a game like this because everyone's thinking, the Packers and their offense and defense. Yeah.
This is the thing I don't understand. You go back to last week when they played the Patriots, and you're talking they played one of the best offenses in the game with Tom Brady and the Patriots offense with that running game and that passing game. And they only gave up 24 points. How did they transition from those 24 points against arguably the best team still in the league, which I agree. I think they are. Not even the Packers. But how they go from that to giving up 37 points on a depleted backfield with Steven Jackson making some plays but not good enough, and just basically one wide receiver the whole game that did all of the work.
Yeah, I mean, this game, to me, on both sides, was just whoever was coaching. I mean, this really dumb things made this game the way it was. This game, I mean, the Packers defense that has got to be the biggest concern. Though. I mean, the interception. I mean, it was a horrible interception, and then the missed field goal that happens, and I mean the onside kicks were dumb, but I mean the Packers defense. I mean, it's like, come on here. I mean, a week ago, you stopped the best team in the NFL, and this week, you can't stop one guy who is the whole team.
We're talking a team who is under 500. We're talking a team who is, only because of their division title, is in the playoff race. We're talking a team who had some of the worst losses of the year, getting blown out, even at home, and they put up 37 points against this Packer defense.
You know, and the thing I can't believe either is the whole game. It's like you're thinking, yeah, okay, it starts. It could be a close game, or the Packers will dominate and win, and then it looks like, yeah, obviously the Packers is the thing in the bag. But the other thing you got to remember too is how in the world did not just, I mean, how did the Packers do this to the Patriots a week ago, but they can't, nobody fits in with the Falcons?
Yeah.
When you're trying to stop one guy, and that's what I understand. It's like I said, how did the Falcons just, where did this offense come from?
Yeah.
Because the game was over.
It should have been over.
It should have been over, and then it should have been over for the Packers because the Falcons should have had it. I mean, both teams blew this game in different ways.
Yeah, and well, if you listen to the press conference after, Mike McCarthy talking about, I mean, he may be proud of his team, but he also said their defensive miscues. You could tell that there was defensive miscues with that fourth down, I think it was, or was it third down, when they just let Julio Jones run free right in the middle, that short slant. How they just let that. I'm pretty sure it was a fourth down.
He was wide open every play. Every play, he had at least 5 yards to work with.
Yeah, I mean, he did run some excellent routes, and I will say about half his
Even
plays.
Roddy White was wide open on plays. And
yeah.
leaving both them guys wide open, that's all you have to do.
It was just dysfunction. If you know, that secondary was not prepared. I mean,
no, and people were looking around like they didn't know who were,
this is the thing. Building on that, all 3 timeouts, second half, were all defensive timeouts. They just couldn't get together. That defense, if they play like they did then, Packers are not a championship team. They need to make sure that performance doesn't happen again.
And then I hear too. I don't know if you heard this, but I heard at the end like, Clay Matthews, the best of the Packers defense, the best player. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that's interesting because here's a guy who is just this entity of the Packers defense, the entity of the whole team. But what does he really get done? I mean, he can't cover anybody. He doesn't. I mean, maybe he got lucky on that sack because the reason he got the sack was because.
You talk about when he worked back in. What was it, third?
No, because Ryan stepped up and then Ryan stepped back and then he moved that little cornered himself and then Matthews jumped on his back for the sack.
Oh yeah, where he got him around the neck. I was actually surprised. I thought they were gonna call that when he grabbed him around the neck.
Because he threw him down too.
Yeah.
There was a couple, and then he had the other that looked like roughing the passer when he picked Ryan up. He threw him to the ground. Remember that? I'm like, that should be a call. And then I even thought I saw the Packers offsides 1 or 2 other times in the game.
Yeah, I did see them jump into a neutral zone.
You see the one in the beginning, very early in the game. Did you see that one? They didn't call him it was off. And then I don't know. The whole game to me just never seemed like either team just had anything under control. It seemed like the whole game was just a free for all.
Yeah, because it seemed like Packers control the game, and then second half it seems Atlanta Falcons got it, control the game. It was 2-sided between halves. If they didn't have that huge lead in the beginning, we'd be talking about a different scenario.
But then again, if the Falcons didn't do what they do in certain situations, the Falcons, I mean, they could have won the game by 2 or 3 touchdowns in some of the situations. Like I said, that 17-point swing on who knows? I mean, those onside kicks, I don't understand what in the world you're doing. I mean,
especially
with the time you have left. You have time, and your defense is starting to play better. And not only that, but if you stop them, guess what? You have less field to go for your offense, which is on fire. Why would you want them